Hey guys, RuM Cake here. I want to go ahead and make a little vlog today about the MLG Anaheim stuff that everybody's talking about in the Call of Duty scene, what everybody thinks, and give my own thoughts. I want to start this off with a couple of things. First of all, these opinions that I'm stating are 100% my own. These are just my personal thoughts and my own ideas. Second thing I want to say is that MLG, no matter what anyone can say, in terms of if this is a great idea or the worst idea ever, whatever they think, MLG has been an amazing thing for esports, and especially North American esports. They've been around for a long time. Guys like Sundance, Adamap, Richard Webb, John Nelson, if these guys weren't doing what they were doing, we would have no scene, and these events wouldn't be near as big as they are. You look at other events like UMG, they're doing an amazing job too. But MLG's been around for a really long time, and they really have done a lot and pioneered a lot of North American esports in a lot of ways. Of course, outside the Counter-Strike days and stuff. But MLG is great, and they've done a lot for the scene. So now let me talk about this MLG system. I'm going to talk about some of the pros, some of the cons, and what I think could happen to make it even cooler. First of all, this whole league system where there's something going on after the event, and there's this online circuit happening. That's amazing. COD needs more content that is top teams playing on a regular basis in games that matter, and them doing that is awesome. I think that's 100% necessary for COD to continue to grow. It's going to help the brands grow. There's hopefully some teams in there that can use the growth more than others. And hopefully some new teams come in that could use the growth and deserve it. And anyone that qualifies, that's a difficult thing to do in this given state and how it can be accomplished. So in that sense, in helping brands grow and helping the teams grow that qualify, it's really cool. Now everyone's trying to compare this to League of Legends, how League of Legends has the LCS and the Coke Zero Challenger Series, and how this is just like the LCS and the Coke Zero Challenger Series. But the problem is it's really not. If you look at the LCS, yes, it's great. Teams can get relegated out of the LCS. The LCS lasts for several months. They have this season. Doesn't matter who you are, even the biggest names in the entire industry, CLG, TSM, and Evil Geniuses, any of those teams technically could be relegated. Which is what makes the LCS so exciting. Now, the cool part about all this, though, and this is the difference I feel, is that if you look at the Coke Zero Amateur Series, the Challenger Series, if you're an amateur team and you're playing League of Legends right now, if you're on League, you have something you're playing for. You are playing to get in a Challenger and then achieve a very high rank in Challenger. That way, when the next set of qualifications start, they're pulling their teams that are qualifying for that league right out of that top Challenger Series. Now, the problem with COD is there's two problems. One is there's not very many major lands after Anaheim this year that we know of, at least. The rumor is that Anaheim is MLG's last major open bracket tournament this year. When else does an amateur team qualify? How else do they do it? When you're playing League, you're playing to get in a Challenger. You're playing for that seeding. When you're playing Call of Duty, if you're playing game battles right now in the current format, or you're scrimming, it's not actually helping you get, aside from your own improvement, qualify for this league. So basically, if you don't qualify right now in this Anaheim Open bracket, it's going to be really, really, really difficult to try to find a way to crack yourself into that system. And the reality is because there's not a clear-cut system and ranking structure for amateur teams yet. So what I think MLG could do that could be really awesome and really beneficial is maybe set these seasons 2 or 3, 4 months long, however long they want to be long. Create a whole nother game battles ladder if they want this to be online, and have it be a MLG variant only ladder, so people are only playing real competitive game types and roles. And maybe have the top 12 teams from this ladder qualify for an amateur league and run 2 leagues simultaneously, where the bottom 4 teams every 2 months or so can get relegated out into a little bracket playoff with the top 4 teams of the amateur series. That way, there is a consistent way, so amateur teams know exactly what they're playing for, exactly how to achieve it, and exactly how to make it happen. Because that's what there is in League. Granted, there's so many teams that are trying to do this in League of Legends, and so few will make it. But whether you're in Bronze 5 in League of Legends or you're in Challenger, you know the exact way and the exact structure. The other thing about this, too, is that this is the first time they've kind of done this. And in reality, the teams with the most pro points, while they definitely deserve high seeding, and they definitely deserve to have the advantage in qualifying, they're already shoo-ins. And when this is the first time you do something like that, that's pretty bold to just shoo in big teams. And there's pros and cons to this too. Pros obviously being is you want your optic, your complexity, your curses. You want those teams in the league because those are what's going to attract viewers. The cons is you make it so unbelievably difficult for these amateur teams to come in without a clear-cut way of saying this is how you do it aside from finish top 4. Just finish the top 4 and you're in. That's hard. People don't understand, I think, how small the skill gap actually is in Call of Duty. And I'm not saying teams like Complexity are close to as good as some of your bottom amateur teams. But when you look at like the 10th, 11th, and 12th teams in that league, and you look at your top amateur teams, that skill gap is so close. Whether you've heard those top amateur teams or not, they're really good. And they're not going to have the same opportunity to jump in just because of pro points right now, because maybe they didn't have a brand that wasn't able to pay for their travel. Call of Duty is a much newer esport in terms of professionalism. There's much less brands that are able to afford to send their teams to events like UMG Niagara and just send teams all over the world to these major lands to get their names out there. So you have lots of amateur teams that are really, really great that haven't had a sponsor to send them anywhere. And now, in essence, they're kind of getting punished by having to finish top 4 in another very tough bracket. It's still going to have 4 teams. And it's not to say that's a bad thing. Like I said, the top teams that have earned their pro points, that have gotten there and done this already, they deserve it. They should have an easier road. In my opinion, though, if this was the goal, what I would have personally liked to have seen is one massive open bracket where you come through the open bracket. It's land. There's no lag issues. The top 8 teams, they should get there anyways, right? To the top 8 teams. I would put money seriously on, if it was legal and allowed, that there would be teams like Complexity that would run through an open bracket like that and get in the top 8 anyways and qualify no matter what. Teams like SB that are proven to be just so hot and great right now, like they're going to get there. No matter how they get there, they'll get there. But the thing is you give other people the opportunity. Now we're talking about building amateur teams' brands and building their images. Yes, if they qualify, and the teams that do, they will get a big boost in their image. But you look at a lot of teams in the past, they built their names and their reputations off 1 or 2 events in a row where they upset big teams and players. There's been a couple people in the scene talking about like, hey, I made my name off beating Envy in 2 lands in a row, or Optic 2 lands in a row, and that's how I made myself in this industry. That's how I started my career. And essentially, for a lot of teams, you're taking that opportunity away with this. So again, I think if they made it so there was a clear-cut system and clear-cut path on how amateur teams could qualify, this would be absolutely incredible. If they had an amateur cup running side by side with maybe Champions Cup and the amateur cup, whatever you want to call it. If they had that running side by side, so there's amateur brands building and bringing value to amateur brands too, that would be amazing. If they had a more clear-cut system on the relegation, how often that was going to be happening, that would be really cool. And I think the general premise is a great idea. I just think it needs to have a bit more added onto it to help the smaller guys and help the littler brands grow. And I think when they do that, it'll be absolutely awesome. But yeah, guys, I haven't done a video blog in a long time. Again, this is Rum Cake from Synergy. I hope you guys enjoy this, and I hope you appreciate just my personal opinions, and you can take it or leave it. I just wanted to get my thoughts out there since everyone's talking about it right now. It's a hot subject. So everyone have a wonderful day. I'm going to get to my matches now, and take care, everybody. Bye-bye.